What if I told you the part of you that feels pain, that grows tired, that fears, is not the real you? Beneath the noise of thought, beyond the limits of your body, there is something ancient, something untouched by time. You weren't born to just survive in this world. You were born to wake up in it. You are not here to be human alone. You are here to remember the part of you that was never just flesh. That part, it doesn't break, it doesn't age, it awakens. Every thought that enters the mind is like a ripple on the surface of a still lake. It rises, it disturbs, and then it fades. But the lake itself remains untouched beneath. In the same way, the consciousness beneath your thoughts never changes. It watches the rise and fall of every emotion, every fear, every moment of joy or pain. But it does not get carried away. Most people mistake the ripple for the water, and the thought for the self. But when you observe with clarity, a different truth reveals itself. You begin to notice there is something within that remains constant. It is silent, but fully aware. It sees everything, but it is not what it sees. That awareness is not created by the mind. It exists before the thoughts begin and remains after they pass. It is not defined by memory or identity or name. It is simply the presence that witnesses it all. Most live their lives trapped inside their own thinking, believing every thought to be a truth. But when you start observing instead of reacting, the separation begins. The difference between what you experience and the one who observes the experience becomes clear. This clarity is power. Because once you realize you are not the storm, but the sky it moves through, fear starts to dissolve. The witness is unshaken by chaos. It simply watches with calm understanding. When pain comes, the mind screams for escape, but the witness doesn't run. It sees the pain, acknowledges it, but does not become it. That is the space where freedom begins. The more you return to this awareness, the more stable you become. Not numb, not cold, but deeply present. Presence does not avoid life. It embraces it fully without drowning in it, like a tree standing in the wind, grounded at the root while the branches sway. Thoughts may try to pull you in different directions, but you no longer chase them. You simply observe. And from this observation, you gain inner control. That control is not forceful. It is peaceful. It doesn't come from suppressing emotions, but from understanding them. When you feel anger rising, you no longer let it possess you. You feel it, see it, and let it pass like a cloud moving across the sun. The light of awareness shines regardless. This awareness doesn't age, it doesn't fear, it doesn't crave, it just is. No desire can shake it because it is already complete. No success can inflate it because it doesn't need validation. It is beyond comparison. And once you connect with this space often enough, it becomes your natural state. The illusion of the separate self begins to dissolve. The version of you that worries about the future and regrets the past starts to lose power because the one who watches is always in the now. The present moment is not something you chase. It's the only place where the real you exists. Every breath taken in awareness becomes sacred. Every movement becomes intentional. Even silence becomes alive. You begin to walk through the world with quiet strength. Not because life becomes easier, but because your center remains untouched by difficulty. That is a deeper kind of strength. This realization does not come from books. It comes from silence, from attention, from direct experience. It requires patience and practice. Like training the body, the mind must also be disciplined to become still. But unlike the body, the awareness behind the mind does not need to be built. It only needs to be remembered. You are already that stillness. You've just been distracted from it. Life has become noise layered upon noise, drowning out the quiet truth. But underneath the noise you remain, steady, pure, alert. And when you find that place, the world cannot pull you out of it. From this state, your actions become more powerful. You respond instead of reacting. You act from clarity instead of confusion. Your energy stops leaking through endless inner conflict. The witness allows you to see the mind clearly, like a mirror reflecting every thought. And from this reflection comes wisdom. Not the kind you borrow, but the kind kind you discover on your own. Insight begins to rise like the morning sun through the fog, and the more you live from this place, the less you are controlled by the habits of the past. You become less of a machine, more of a master. Nothing outside needs to change for this transformation to begin. You don't need perfect conditions, or permission, or applause. What is required is attention, honesty, and a willingness to go within. Many search the world for power, never realizing the most unshakable force is the one watching from within. The same force that has witnessed every moment of your life without judgment. It has never abandoned you. It does not need improvement. It only waits to be acknowledged. And once you do, you stop searching for yourself in external things. You return home to the awareness that has always been. This inner return does not make you separate from the world. It allows you to engage with it more deeply. You feel more, not less. But you are not consumed by feeling. You become open to everything and attached to nothing. Success, failure, praise, blame, these no longer determine your identity. You move like water, adaptable and calm. Your actions become expressions of your inner stillness. You begin to radiate a kind of quiet certainty that others feel, even if they can't explain it. That is the energy of someone who remembers that their nature is not limited to this human form. You are not what the mirror shows you. You are not the name you were given, the roles you play, or the titles you carry. Those are garments you wear for a time, not the essence of what you are. What you are cannot be seen, but it sees. It cannot be touched, but it touches all things. It is not a concept to understand, but a presence to return to. The journey is not outward, it is inward. And once you begin, there is no need to rush. Every breath, every still moment becomes part of the remembering. And in that space, you live not just as a human, but as something far more aware. There is a presence within you that did not begin with your first breath. It was not born when your body entered this world, and it will not vanish when your body returns to the earth. This presence is ancient, untouched by time, unchanged by age. It flows silently through your being like an invisible river beneath the surface. It carries memories not stored in the mind, but etched in the core of existence itself. You have felt it in moments of deep stillness, when everything fades except the now. That quiet strength, that subtle knowing, it's not human conditioning. It is the echo of something eternal moving within you. You are not just made of matter, you are animated by mystery. The body moves, breaks, and heals. The mind forgets, doubts, and learns. But the energy that fuels all of it, your awareness, your essence, does not deteriorate. It doesn't crave validation, and it doesn't compete. It simply is. When you feel disconnected or lost, it is not that the energy has disappeared. It is that you've been pulled too far from it. The noise of life, the demands of identity, the distraction of comparison, all create layers that hide it. But it never leaves. It remains still beneath the surface, like the sun behind clouds. The journey is not about creating something new, but uncovering what was always there. This energy moves through your breath, but it is not the breath itself. It moves through thought, but it is not thought. It powers your voice, your action, your vision, but it belongs to none of these things. It is the source, not the expression. And while the world may teach you to focus only on the visible, the measurable, the external, it is what cannot be seen that gives rise to everything. The eyes see, but cannot see themselves, just as your body moves, but is not the mover. To know this energy is not to understand it with the intellect. It is to sense it, feel it, and become still enough to recognize its presence. You may call it intuition, inner wisdom, or spirit, but no label can contain what it truly is. It existed before language, before thought, before form. It is why you are drawn to stillness, why silence feels sacred, why the stars move you even without words. It is the reminder that you are more than the sum of your memories, that your existence is not an accident of biology, but part of something immeasurably vast. This energy cannot be measured by machines. It cannot be given or taken away by society. It does not depend on your achievements or failures. It is beyond condition. There are moments in life when something deep awakens, when you look into the eyes of another and feel something timeless, when nature takes your breath away, not because it is beautiful, but because it reminds you of something forgotten. In those moments, the ancient within you stirs. You feel more alive than usual, not because something new was added, but because something heavy was removed. These glimpses are not rare, they're just often missed, buried under stress, buried under roles, buried under fear. But if you quiet the mind and soften your grasp, the ancient voice within starts to whisper again. This voice does not shout, it does not force, it waits, patiently, gently. It calls you inward, not to escape the world, but to remember your origin within it. You are not separate from the sun, the sea, or the stars. The same force that lights the galaxy flows through your breath. It is the fire behind your drive, the stillness in your presence, the depth behind your eyes. You may have forgotten how powerful this connection is, but it has not forgotten you. It has been there every moment, watching, waiting, guiding softly, not with words, but with knowing. When you act from this energy, your actions are different. They carry weight without effort. They resonate not just with those around you, but with the very rhythm of life. Because your choices are no longer driven by fear or ego, they arise from truth. The truth that you are not here to simply survive, achieve, or impress. You are here to express the energy that lives within you, not in imitation, but in authenticity. And the more aligned you become with that inner presence, the more peace begins to replace pressure. You no longer chase life, you move with it. Many search the outside world to feel whole. They gather objects, titles, status, trying to fill a void. But the reason nothing satisfies for long is because the hunger is not physical, it is spiritual. The only true nourishment comes from reuniting with the timeless energy within. The more you reconnect with it, the less you need to prove. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop trying to be someone. You realize you already are. And from that place, everything you do becomes rooted, purposeful, and powerful, not loud, but unshakably present. This reconnection doesn't require retreating from life. It requires returning to yourself within life. It's in the simple moments, the breath before you speak, the space between thoughts, the calm beneath chaos. It's not found in distant mountains or ancient texts alone, but in your everyday awareness, in how you walk, listen, speak, and love. When you are present, the ancient energy expresses itself through you, not to control, but to create. Not to dominate, but to harmonize. And as this inner energy flows freely, you become more of who you truly are, not more human, but more aware. To live in tune with this energy is not to become something else, but to remember. To remove what is false, to shed what is heavy, to dissolve what was never truly yours. And in that process, what remains is pure. It is not the child of time, but the expression of eternity. It does not age with the body, nor fade with the years. It remains steady, like a flame protected from the wind. You are not here to become it. You are here to realize it was always you, the ancient, the still, the unseen mover of your life. Not 100% human, but something far more expansive. The undisciplined mind is like a wild horse, restless, reactive, and easily pulled by impulse. It jumps from one desire to the next, seeking comfort, avoiding challenge, and fearing silence. But discipline is the art of taming that wildness, not through suppression, but through presence. It is the quiet decision to sit with discomfort rather than run from it, to breathe when the body wants to react, to focus when the mind wants to drift. Each act of discipline becomes a doorway to a deeper power within. Not the power of force, but the strength of clarity. The more you choose discipline, the less control your cravings have over you. What once ruled you becomes silent in the face of stillness. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about remembering your purpose. The body wants ease, but the soul seeks evolution. That tension between what is easy and what is necessary is where transformation happens. When you rise before the world wakes, when you train the body and quiet the mind, you are not simply forming habits. You are revealing identity, not the identity given to you by others, but the one rooted in truth. Each act of discipline removes a layer of illusion. You start to see that you were never weak, you were simply distracted. The flame of strength was always there, hidden beneath convenience. And now, with each choice, you feed that flame. Comfort is seductive. It whispers promises of safety, of rest, of escape from the struggle. But growth never happens in comfort. The muscles do not grow without tension. The mind does not sharpen without challenge. The spirit does not awaken without silence. Discipline creates the space for this awakening. It is the path back to the source within. While others chase dopamine, you choose stillness. While others seek external validation, you seek internal alignment. And slowly, the noise fades. What remains is intention. Clean, grounded, unwavering. This is the clarity that discipline creates. In a world that runs on urgency, discipline teaches patience. It teaches you to slow down and become deliberate, to move with rhythm instead of reaction. You stop chasing time and start commanding it, one breath at a time, one step at a time. Each small practice compounds into great transformation, not through force, but through consistency. Discipline is the quiet builder of power, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that radiates. When you meet someone who is rooted, calm, and precise, you are witnessing the result of inner training. Not talent, not luck, but commitment. The mind will resist at first. It will tell you to quit, to rest, to give in. But that resistance is part of the training. Like fire-hardened steel, discipline strengthens will. Every time you act in alignment with your higher self, even when it's difficult, you weaken the grip of the lower impulses. You begin to trust yourself again, because trust is not built through motivation. It is built through consistency, through showing up again and again, whether you feel like it or not. That is when discipline becomes devotion, not an obligation, but an offering to the strength inside you. There is a silence that grows from discipline, a silence that is not empty but full of energy. It is not bored but deeply alert. When you are no longer ruled by distractions, your awareness sharpens. You start to see clearly what once was blurred by desire. The small things become meaningful, the breath, the movement, the space between thoughts. Discipline brings you into the now, fully, powerfully, unapologetically present. And in that presence, your actions become deliberate. Each word, each step, each decision rooted in purpose, not impulse. The world does not reward the distracted. It rewards the focused. And focus is the fruit of discipline. You don't need to chase many things. You need to master a few. Simplicity is a sign of wisdom. When the mind is clear, you do less, but with greater impact. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You move less, but every movement is precise. Discipline sharpens your presence until it becomes undeniable. You don't need to announce who you are. Your energy says it for you, because people can feel when someone is anchored, and that anchoring comes from within. Success without discipline collapses under pressure, because without a strong foundation, even the tallest tower will fall. But when discipline is your foundation, you can build endlessly. You are not shaken by setbacks. You are not broken by delay. You understand that real growth takes time, and you are willing to wait, to endure, to keep going, not because the path is easy, but because the purpose is greater than the pain. That is the essence of inner power, the ability to keep moving forward when no one is watching, to remain steady when everything around you is unstable. Discipline is the language of mastery. It is what turns skill into art, potential into presence, chaos into clarity. When you train your body, you're not just building muscle, you are building resilience. When you train your mind, you're not just learning, you are remembering. Remembering that you are capable of choosing what matters over what's easy, that you can feel the pull of the world and still return to center. Each day you practice, the noise weakens, the inner compass strengthens, and in that stillness, you become unshakable, not because the world stopped testing you, but because you stopped abandoning yourself. There is no shortcut to this level of presence, no hack, no instant result, only practice, only discipline, only the decision to begin again each day with humility and strength. You may stumble, you may fall, but discipline is not perfection, it is returning, returning to your breath, returning to your purpose, returning to your truth, over and over again until it becomes your nature, until the wild horse becomes still, until the reactive mind becomes quiet, and what remains is not noise, not fear, not weakness, but a presence that no longer needs to seek, because it has remembered its power. The body is a vessel, temporary, ever-changing, destined to fade. It ages, it breaks, it grows tired, but it is not the totality of who you are. Most people live their lives clinging to the form, mistaking the physical for the permanent. But to awaken is to understand that you are not here merely to maintain the body. You are here to transcend the limitations it imposes. The body is the training ground, not the destination. Every hardship, every challenge, every moment of stillness is an invitation to rise above the surface. True evolution does not happen through comfort, but through conscious confrontation with what is difficult. Through this, something higher begins to emerge. A deeper awareness awakens beneath the skin, beyond identity, beyond image. Suffering is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It breaks the illusions the mind clings to. It reveals the fragility of what you once thought was strength. And in that brokenness, space opens for something deeper. Pain humbles the ego. It strips away the masks and forces stillness. In that stillness, you begin to hear something ancient, a whisper from within that does not come from thought. It is not afraid. It is not reactive. It has watched your entire life without judgment. And when you touch that place, suffering becomes fuel for transformation. You stop asking why things happen to you. You begin asking what they are awakening in you. There is power in stillness, in the silence between thoughts, in the breath that follows struggle. Most people avoid this silence because it feels unfamiliar, but within it lies clarity. A clarity that does not come from solving problems, but from releasing the need to control. When you no longer chase answers outside, you begin to realize everything you seek has always been within, not within the mind, but beneath it, not within the body, but beyond it. To transcend form is not to abandon the world, it is to see through it, to walk with both feet on the ground while your awareness remains untethered. Awareness is not limited to the brain or the senses. It is not born from the body exists within it. You are not contained by your form, you are simply expressing through it for now. When you realize this, fear begins to dissolve. Fear of death, fear of loss, fear of judgment, all fade in the face of truth. You are not here to accumulate possessions or titles. You are here to master presence, to become fully aware in this very moment. That awareness cannot be threatened because it does not depend on external conditions. It is the sky that remains even as the storm passes through. To transcend is not to escape, but to elevate, to meet life fully, yet not be controlled by it. The body will feel pain, the mind will feel doubt, but the awareness behind both can remain unshaken. This is the essence of power, not domination, but understanding, not force, but presence. You begin to see that everything passes, and in that passing, nothing can truly hold you unless you allow it. You are not your thoughts, you are not your habits, you are the space in which all of it unfolds, and that space is unchanging, untouched, deeply awake. Growth is not about becoming someone new, it is about shedding what is false. The stories you've been told, the fears you inherited, the limitations you accepted, they are not you. They are layers added through time and repetition. But what lies beneath is pure, focused, steady. Each time you sit in silence, each time you face discomfort with awareness, a layer is removed. And what emerges is not an improved version of the self, but the original one, clear, unburdened, awake. This process requires courage, not the kind that fights, but the kind that surrenders, that lets go of what is familiar in order to step into what is real. There is a reason the most ancient traditions taught stillness before action, because until you are rooted in presence, every action is reaction, every decision is clouded by noise. But when you transcend form and rest in awareness, your actions begin to carry wisdom. They are not rushed, they are not for approval, They come from a place of knowing, not needing, and that kind of action reshapes your path. You no longer live on the surface, you begin to create from the depths. Life becomes less about chasing and more about aligning. The world around you constantly shifts. People come and go, circumstances rise and fall, but the deeper self remains untouched. That is what you are here to find, not by running, not by achieving, but by becoming still enough to feel it. Even in chaos, even in pain, even in uncertainty, it is there, watching, waiting, offering guidance without words. Once you begin to live from this place, you no longer seek freedom. You realize you already are free, not in the sense of doing whatever you want, but in being undisturbed by what you cannot control.